folks, the Filipina P here. And today I've got another controversial topic for your consideration. It's gonna require dropping a few truth bombs and a lot of telling it like it is. But it's something so integral to who we are as humans that it's certainly worth taking a serious look at. All of us have heard someone claim they found their soulmate, their one and only, their forever love, and then a few months later, they have a new love of their life. Maybe there was no cheating involved, but it's obvious that things didn't work out. In this disposable age, it seems that relationships don't last as long as they used to, and people end up having a lot more partners. Perhaps we can be forgiven for the mistakes of our youth, when we're young, dumb, and full of conflicting emotions. But it begs the question, are we meant to stay together? Are we monogamous? And of course, before we get to the good stuff, please take just a second to punch the thumbs up and subscribe buttons, as well as that little notification bell so you can check out my future videos and help my channel grow. I appreciate it more than you may know. Now, the definition of monogamy is having only one mate at a time. But for how long? If you have a relationship with someone for a month, then have another relationship for a few weeks, does that count as being monogamous? At best, that would be considered serial monogamy. But if that's the case, you may as well define serial monogamy as being really devoted to your morning cornflakes. Unless there's a threesome involved, it sounds like the traditional definition makes us all sound monogamous. But I want to talk about longer partnerships and question whether we're truly monogamous or whether we just hang around as long as it's fun and convenient. A lot of you guys talk about the dangers of contracting Oneitis, which is fixating on one person by putting them on a pedestal and investing everything you have into that one relationship. If I were a man in today's world, I'd probably feel the same way. And I don't blame you for being gun-shy about monogamy. But just for a moment, let's assume that all the laws were fair and there was no penalty for bonding permanently with another person. Would a long-term monogamous relationship be something you were interested in then? Maybe not. Listen to these statistics. According to YouGov.com, 1/3 of Americans say their ideal relationship would be non-monogamous. And check this out, 43% of millennials feel the same way. And these numbers continue to grow every year. Is this evidence of decay in a society? Or is it a return to a more natural state? Monogamy may be the normal thing, but is it the natural thing? Or just a tradition that was imposed on us as our culture evolved? Now, it's undeniable that long-term monogamous relationships benefit society. Children especially benefit from having two parents with an approximately equal number of men and women. A society based on monogamy ensures a more fair distribution of partners so that most people have a chance to participate. But monogamy is threatened by factors like a welfare state that reduces the importance of finding and keeping a man, and modern birth control that's made it easier to have multiple partners without worrying about having to attract a mate to take care of another man's child. And as monogamy loses influence, societies tend to adopt the 80-20 principle, where the top 20% of males get 80% of the women due to their wealth, status, or superior genes, which leaves the majority of the male population frustrated and without a long-term partner. Sound familiar? The future of monogamy is in danger, but is this the way it was supposed to be? Most of us are aware that when it comes to species of mammals, including humans, only 9% are monogamous. Mother Nature only wants us to increase our numbers, and the best way to do that is to spread our seed far and wide. That's why males in particular evolve an urge to impregnate any female with good genes, and even ones with not so good genes. Although non-monogamy doesn't benefit females as far as the number of children they can have, there are other benefits to adultery, in the form of getting extra resources or access to better genes than her partner can offer. Once again, this behavior is innate and often subconscious, but it's within all of us. Obviously, the biggest difference between humans and other mammals, though, is our ability to reason. We don't have to be controlled by our urges, but there still always seems to be an ongoing battle between our polygamous nature and our monogamous culture. We all know couples, often older ones in our family tree, that met in their youth, managed to stay married their entire lives to the same person, and never strayed, as far as we know anyway. So how did they do it? Well, for one thing, having strong religious convictions can effectively keep two people together, working as a team, who are able to resist earthly delights and focus on what they see as the bigger picture. Not all of them are successful, but they do seem to give monogamy a serious try. But in many cases, it was a lack of opportunity that kept couples together. If you married your high school sweetheart in a small town, you had a lot more eyes on you, and a tight community where everyone knew everyone's business made an affair a very tricky thing to pull off. But today, social media has exponentially increased temptations and opportunities, so that everyone now has the equivalent of a sexual candy store in their cell phone. And since it's virtually anonymous, there are fewer consequences from society. We now have access to a number of partners that would have been unimaginable to older generations. But is this online promiscuity evidence of the decay of morals? Or is it just a tool that allows us to practice our natural desires more efficiently? So what about you? Are you monogamous? I'm not talking about are you a good little boy or girl who hasn't cheated on their partner. I'm asking what you'd prefer in your heart. That's the real test. What if you had the ability to enter a different reality at will, like the holodeck on the Enterprise in Star Trek, and have as many sexual partners as you desired with absolutely no repercussions from your mate? Would you use it?
Computer, run Barclay Program 15.
But what if no one else was even aware that you were spending time in a fantasy world? No consequences from the society either. Then would you use it to satisfy your biological desire for variety? And I'm not just talking to the men out there. What about you ladies? Typically, men are more interested in purely physical encounters, but I bet some women might choose to live out a fantasy in there. A fantasy that would be problematic in real life.
Maybe this is an opportunity for you to do some exploring of your own.
Now, if being monogamous were the natural way of things, you'd expect only single people to avail themselves of such technology. But I think we discovered that in reality, just as many married or committed folks would be sneaking down to the holodeck on their free time. I could be wrong, but I guess we'll never know. The closest thing we're liable to see in our lifetimes is the advent of androids that are designed for erotic purposes. And if you think this sounds like far-fetched science fiction, then you're not keeping up with what's going on.
I am programmed in multiple techniques, a broad variety of pleasuring.
When these do become widely available, and they will, they may have a huge impact on person-to-person relationships and on monogamy in general, depending on how you define it. Now, for those of you that would respond by saying, well, that's not real. It's like having sex with a good-looking toaster. So it doesn't have anything to do with human nature and monogamy. Then let's look at some actual examples where individuals did have the opportunity to act as they wish without consequence. What if you were Genghis Khan, the supreme lawmaker and ruler of over 1 million subjects? He had the power to act any way he wanted. Did he choose to be happily monogamous with Mrs. Khan? Or did he have 6 wives and over 500 concubines? We know the answer to that one. What about Alexander the Great, who was reported by one historian to have had more concubines than there were days of the year? Now that's variety. Maybe these were just megalomaniacs who wanted to display their power. Or maybe their behavior was just the result of a person who's allowed to let their true nature show. So I guess the ultimate question is, would you prefer non-monogamy if you could get away with it? Or maybe change the rules so it wasn't cheating? Is it just the fear of punishment and hurting your mate that keeps you in check? Or is having more than one partner an immoral thing on its own? Are you monogamous because you have to be, or because you want to be? Only you know the answer. Well, that's it for today, folks. I hope you found it thought-provoking and worthy of a profound or humorous comment, and I can't wait to read them. And for you guys that are bound to ask me about my own preference, let me save you the trouble by saying that monogamy is a great idea, but a little trip to the holodeck now and then probably wouldn't hurt either. Till next time, folks.
You know how cute I always thought you were.
If you think about it, I'm kind of like your lifeguard, keeping you from drowning in a sea of doubt about life in the Philippines. I won't let you just dive right into the deep end without informing you about our culture and customs. And you can always count on me to take care of all the little details along the way. What is that in the pool? All right, everyone, out of the pool, out of the pool! Now we're gonna have to shut it down for weeks and get a hazmat crew in here, damn it! Oh my god, this is so disgusting! Which one of you subscribers did that?